What's up guys, it's Rhett from the 100 Acre Wood Highlands Ranch. Check out all these wild plums. Here at the ranch we have quite a few different plants that grow wild. These plums that are native to Oklahoma and the southeast US are called sand plums. That's what I've called them all my life. Some people call them Chickasaw plums or Cherokee plums or sand hill plums, but they grow all over the place and they grow in big thickets. And this year we are loaded down with these plums, so we're going to be taking a look at how we can preserve some of them by making some sand plum jelly. Sand plums are small, round plums that grow in really bushes or thickets more than a plum tree, and they're pretty small. They're usually about a half an inch or so in diameter, and they have a pit inside of them, and they bloom in the early spring in March and April, and they have little white flowers. And the last 2 years we've had late freezes that have killed those blooms and has resulted in us not getting any sand plums at all. Well, this year we didn't have that late freeze and the sand plums are growing like crazy, and so we're going to be putting some away today by making some sand plum jelly. That's good. When you're picking the sand plums, you kind of have to be careful because some of these bushes have little thorns on them. But the fruit's worth it. First step after picking is to go through and get rid of all the leaves, twigs, any bugs, or any bad sand plums that have spots on them. So this is a long, tedious process, but we want to make sure we get good fruit inside of our jam. Alright, we have 4 quarts of sand plums cleaned and ready to go. We're going to bring them up to a boil to soften them up, then we'll run them through the colander to get the pulp removed. Plums have been boiling for about 10 minutes or so now, and you can see a lot of the peels are starting to come off of these plums. So these are just about ready. The very next step that we're going to do is take the potato masher and break these down. That way we'll know for certain that all the plums have busted before we put them inside the colander. Now we have most of the plums smashed up. Next thing to do is run them through the colander to get as much pulp and juice as we can out, and the goal is to measure out 4 cups of the sand plum juice. It helps to have a tool like this to remove the pits and the skins of the plums and get as much juice and pulp as possible. So we've decided to set this down inside of this pan. We're going to scoop up our plums and juice with a little ladle. Put them inside our funnel. We're going to do just a little bit at a time and use this little wooden tool here to smash out as much pulp and juice as we can get. This tool works really well for getting all the juice out of the sand plums. The goal with 4 quarts of sand plums was to get 4 cups of sand plum juice and pulp, so we're going to measure out and see how much we actually got. Alright, that batch of sand plums actually made 7 cups of pulp. We're going to use a 1-to-1 ratio with sugar and combine that in our pan and bring it up to a boil. Okay, we got our pulp back on the stove. We're going to mix in a package of pectin, stir it up, bring it to a boil, and then we will add in all of our sugar. Now that the pulp's up to a boil, we're going to add in our sugar and stir it all in. Once this is to a rolling boil, you can use your candy thermometer to get it up to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. And when it's at that rolling boil point, you want to cook it for another 2 minutes. Then you can remove it from the heat and skim off the foam. Now that we've got it removed from the heat, we're going to skim off as much of the foam as we can. You can keep the foam inside of your jars if you want. It just doesn't look very nice inside of the jar. So we try to skim off as much of this foam as we can get before we use our funnel to fill up our jars. It helps to have a canning funnel when you're filling up these jars. It helps to keep all of the pulp off the rim of the jar. You want the rim to be very clean whenever you put the lids on, because we want to make sure it has a good seal on the top of the jar. Our 4 quarts of sand plum juice made 7 jars. We made sure to clean our rims really well. Got the lids heating up in a saucepan. Next step is to place those on centered. Put the rings on just fingertip tight and then lower them down into the water. Alright, we've got the jars filled up. The lids are on, the rims are tightened fingertip tight. We're going to place them in our water bath canner. Lower it into the water. Make sure that it's covered by at least 1 inch of water and bring it up to a boil. The last part of the process for today is to remove these jars. We've had them boiling for a little longer than 10 minutes. Pulled them off the heat to let them cool down. Now we're going to remove these jars, set them on this towel and leave them overnight. And then tomorrow we get to move on to my favorite step, which is the taste test. Hopefully we'll start to hear some of these pop and know that they've sealed as they begin to cool. Alright, well, it's been 10 months since we made our sand plum jam. We're out here grilling today. It's the 1st of May, living that quarantine life, just trying to stay away from everybody. And we're cooking some shish kebabs, and for dessert, we're gonna have some biscuits with this jam. So let's check it out. Heard a good seal on it. That sounds good. Keeping our biscuits warm over here in the grill while our things cook. There it is. Let's give it a taste. That's good. Well, guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. Give us a like if you like this video. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching 100 Acre Wood Highlands. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next video.